The ALCS is here, and Flippin' Bats is live from the train here at Minute Maid Park in Houston.
And we've got a Texas-sized showdown, the Rangers and the Astros, and it all starts in just a moment.
We have an AL West rivalry with the Astros looking to get back to the World Series for a second straight year.
With Rangers hoping they hear Houston, we've got a problem.
Alex, Game 1 is on deck. We've got previews, players of the game, predictions, a pitching matchup, and much more.
Well, let's get to it. Flippin' Bats starts right now.
On cue, it's gone. It is gone. Diving catch. What a play.
What a game. What a moment.
This guy is on a different planet right now. Yordan Alvarez with his 4th home run of the series.
Former World Series MVP.
Golf swung, right field. Forget about it. Rangers strike first.
The ALCS is upon us. Welcome to Houston. I am joined, as always, by Alex Curry. Alex, those outfits at the beginning of the show, by the way.
Where'd your cowboy hat, your jacket, your boots, and your belt go, Ben?
It's a long series. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
It is a long
series. Bring it back. That's all I'm saying. Wear it on the air. The whole show.
Deal.
The whole show.
I will at some point.
Okay, one show it's going to happen.
But this is the ALCS Game 1 preview show. And Alex, we are back in Houston. We are in Houston, Texas again, where, look, Flippin' Bats has been in existence for about 3 years now, and every single year the show comes right on back to Texas, to Houston specifically, because of what the Astros are doing. It just feels like every single year, Alex, we booked our tickets a few days ago.
Yeah.
That was a mistake. It cost a lot more money than it should have. Why? Because I could have booked these tickets a year ago when we left the ALCS last year. Why? I'll tell you why. I've been saying it for weeks. The Houston Astros are inevitable. This is the 7th straight ALCS appearance for the Houston Astros, the most of all time, topping their own record of 6, and only trailing the Atlanta Braves, who had 8 straight NLCS appearances. We know the Atlanta Braves, right? The Braves of the 90s, early 2000s. John Smoltz, friend of the pod. Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, friend of the pod. Chipper Jones, friend of the pod. Andrew Jones, Hall of Famers everywhere you look on that team. Well, who's comparable to them? This Houston Astros team that has done something that nobody in American League history has ever done before. Now, why? Well, about a week ago, I had Derek Jeter on the podcast, a guy that I think is pretty well fit to talk about dynasties and cores. And what he said about those Yankees teams that won all those championships, 3 in a row to be exact, and went to a 4th World Series in a row, is that we had our core, right? We had Mariano Rivera, Jorge Posada, Andy Pettitte, himself. Now, I'm not comparing those two teams. They're obviously very different, and the Houston Astros haven't accomplished what those New York Yankees teams did. But what this Astros team has is a core. In fact, a core of 3 guys that have been there from the beginning. 2017, they acquired a pitcher, Justin Verlander, future Hall of Famer. I'm a bit biased here, but a future first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it, and arguably on the doorstep of one of the top 10 pitchers to ever play the game of baseball. 2,000 strikeouts, an MVP, 3 Cy Young Awards, no hitters. You have Jose Altuve, 2,000 hits. He's 33 years old. Still a lot of future in front of him. 2,000 hits, an MVP award, World Series, All-Star games. And then Alex Bregman, the perfect fit for this team. He's still young, but he's got what it takes to win in the postseason. He's clutch. He can hit great. He plays great defensively, and he brings an attitude to a team that you need when it comes to October. So it starts, Alex, with that core, a core group of guys. But I mentioned 7 straight years. You don't just make that happen with a core group. Think of the Chicago Cubs. They had their core, but it didn't last very long. Lasted a short amount of time, actually, and they got 1 World Series championship in there. So it takes a little bit more than that. And that's where this Astros team has continued to separate themselves. with the way they've built this team by acquiring people with trades. Where one door closes, another one opens. Look at Carlos Correa, one of the most clutch players in postseason history and a staple on this Astros team. Well, the front office was willing to move on. In comes a guy named Jeremy Pena, who did what in his first year? ALCS MVP, World Series MVP. They just keep adding everywhere it takes through trades. Justin was acquired via a trade. Yordan Alvarez, by the way, Yordan Alvarez, I'll say it right now. I've been saying it for a little while. He's the best hitter in baseball right now. Yordan Alvarez. Still underrated, still underappreciated, but Yordan Alvarez. 1.70 OPS in the postseason for Yordan Alvarez, the highest of everybody in the postseason. You then look around at what they've done. They added pieces that are no longer here, but Garrett Cole, Zach Greinke, those guys. And now look at what this team has done. So they built around that core where they need to via trades or the front office drafting great guys. And then you move on to the younger guys, which is where this front office added players. Look at this team. It's not just the core. It's Mauricio Dubon out in center field. It's Kyle Tucker, a great draft pick for them. It's Jeremy Pena, who I mentioned. These young guys have come up and have supplemented the core. And then you get to this year. And the new addition, this shiny new prize of the team, is Jose Abreu. 2020 AL MVP winner, who might not have had the best year of his career. But guess where he is playing great? Now, in October, where it matters the most. He's been one of the best hitters in baseball, aside from Yordan Alvarez. You got Yordan, you got Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, and Jose Abreu having the best postseasons of anybody this year. So, Alex, how do you have that level of sustained success in baseball? Well, you love them or you hate them. You have to respect what the Houston Astros have done. They did it with their core, building around them and drafting around them. And I don't care if you love them. If you love them, great. If you hate them, great. Doesn't matter to me. You can't argue with the level of success that they've had to this point, doing something that nobody else in American League history has done, and only on the doorstep, 1 year away from tying what that incredible Atlanta Braves team did. So I'll say it once more.
Okay.
I've said it before. I will say it again. Everybody, love them or hate them, the Houston Astros are inevitable. The second we finish this show, Alex, I'm going to book my flight for next year's ALCS.
You're not. I mean, there's no doubt that the Astros are the most experienced team in the postseason, right? But I think the craziest thing here, we got a Battle of Texas, and this is the very first time that both these teams have ever met in the postseason, which is kind of crazy to wrap your brain around. Now, you just mentioned all the reasons that the Astros are one of the greatest teams in the postseason. The 7 consecutive ALCS appearances. All of the players, the core that they've built around, the immense experience that this roster has. So hearing all of that, looking into the other dugout, how do the Texas Rangers compete with that?
Well, Alex, I think that's the perfect question. It's a great question. And I won't just say how do they compete. The Texas Rangers can win this series.
Yeah.
Now, how did they do this, right? Let's go back 2 years ago, where the Texas Rangers were a 100-loss team. They were one of the worst teams in baseball at the time. And now we see them here in their first ALCS since 2011. How did they do that? Well, it started last season, where they added offensively. Now, they've done this in parts. They added offensively last year. In specific, Marcus Semien and Corey Seager. Corey Seager had one of the best offensive seasons for a shortstop in the history of baseball. I mentioned Yordan Alvarez has the best OPS in the postseason this year. Corey Seager has the second best OPS, 1,500 OPS this postseason. So they added Marcus Semien and Corey Seager for just about $500 million last year and totally revamped their offense. Next comes this year. Where was the weakness? We added on offense. What now? Well, fast forward to this year where they add pitching. Jacob deGrom, right?
Yeah.
Nathan Eovaldi, Andrew Heaney. They totally revamped their entire starting rotation. They saw their weakness and they went out and attacked it. Last year we did offense. This year we're going to do our pitching. And they went out and added one of the best pitchers the game has ever seen when healthy. Now, that decision was questioned at the time, and it ended up coming to fruition. Obviously, Jordan Montgomery Jacob deGrom ends up getting hurt. But Jordan Montgomery, another name that I want to mention. Not only did they do it via the free agency at the beginning of the season, they did it throughout the season. At the trade deadline, they still realized they needed pieces, and they went out and did that with a Jordan Montgomery-type pitcher, with Max Scherzer, who will be a part of this ALCS in some form or fashion. We're going to hear from John Smoltz in a little while about how the Rangers might use Max Scherzer.
Yeah.
But they completely revamped the pitching this year. And for me, it's the timeline that this all has happened. It's completely different than the Astros I talked about, right? The Astros have done it over a long period of time. The Rangers haven't. They were really bad. They added offense, then they add pitching, and now we see them right here back in the ALCS for the first time in about 12 years. So that's how they did this from a timeline perspective. Now, how else are they here?
Yeah.
Well, Alex, this is the streakiest team I think I have ever seen. Ever. They're the only team in baseball this year that has won 8 in a row and lost 8 in a row. They saw it at the beginning of the year. This is one of the best teams offensively in all of baseball. And then they went through quite the skid. Well, right now, why I say this team not only can compete with the Astros, they can beat the Houston Astros, is because this team that's more streaky than anybody in baseball, they're hot.
Yeah.
They're real hot right now. So it's how they got here. They built a team to win a championship. Not in 3 years, not in 5 years, not in 10 years. They built a team to win a championship right now, and they do have the experience. I've talked a lot about inexperience all year long. Nate Eovaldi, big-time post-game pitcher. Max Scherzer, Corey Seager, Marcus Semien. They have postseason experience everywhere you look. This Rangers team is the real deal, and I could not be more excited for this ALCS.
The craziest thing is you mentioned some of the big-name pitchers that they went out and got this year. And up until a couple days ago, both of them were not available.
Yeah.
One still, Jacob deGrom. Max Scherzer just got back on the roster. Not available. So let's break down these rosters, starting with the pitching matchup in Game 1 tonight. We have your brother, Justin Verlander, on the mound, with a guy who was really stepped up when the Rangers needed him most, Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah.
Because with the other two names that you mentioned that the Rangers went after and picked up this season, you would expect one of them in this ace role for this team. So, your brother, Justin Verlander, Jordan Montgomery, what are you expecting to see tonight?
Well, one, Alex, I mentioned how the Astros are inevitable. It also feels the same way with Justin starting Game 1 of a series. Just look where we are. We're back here in Houston.
Yeah.
My parents are about 10 feet off camera. Nervous as hell about Justin starting Game 1 of the
how
ALCS.
Are you doing? Have you been breathing or thinking about anything yet?
No, I've tried not to think about it.
Too busy. It's actually better for you.
But it's rinse and repeat every single year with this Astros team and with Justin on the mound. Now, his regular season, he was great. But it started with the Mets. Now he ends up here with the Astros, and it's all right back to where it all seems so fit. I'm expecting him to come out and pitch well like he seemingly does throughout the postseason. I know he had that World Series storyline that he kind of got rid of last year, but throughout the course of the playoffs, up until the World Series, he's been great. This is his 36th career postseason start, passing Tom Glavine for the second most in postseason history, behind only Andy Pettitte. So I'm expecting Justin to come out tonight, set the tone as it feels like he has for the last 4 starts with this Astros team.
Yeah.
All 4 having been the biggest starts of the year for the Astros. I'm expecting him to come out in front of this packed house and dominate and set the tone early. On the other side of things, Jordan Montgomery. You mentioned they don't have Jacob deGrom pitching.
No.
They don't have Max Scherzer pitching.
No.
They have Jordan Montgomery pitching. And many of you might not be super familiar with the name Jordan Montgomery, but you will be. He's been one of the best pitchers in the postseason all year long. He was a huge trade deadline acquisition for them, and everybody wanted to talk Max Scherzer. Look at the big trade they did. Well, this one has proven to be the most important trade deadline acquisition. He's 1-0 and 3 games started in the postseason with a 2.55 ERA. So look, we have a first ballot Hall of Famer going up against a guy that's not a household name. But don't let that fool you. Jordan Montgomery is great. He's going to pitch his ass off tonight. And we've talked a lot about the offenses with these two teams. But each of these teams is very excited about who they have going out on the mound tonight.
And you actually talked to Smoltz today. What did he have to say about this matchup?
Well, let's toss to John Smoltz, who talked all about this pitching matchup today. We will get to Smoltz.
All right, I'm here with John Smoltz ahead of Game 1 of the ALCS. John, we have the Astros and the Rangers. It feels like we never left from last year. It feels like just yesterday. From a pitching perspective in this series as a whole, what's something that you're looking forward to or watching out for between the Rangers and the Astros?
Well, the biggest thing is we got two great offenses clicking at the right time and two stars on each team really doing the thing. So that's the first thing. Circle those guys. Don't let Alvarez beat you. Don't let Seager beat you. But I think from a pitching standpoint, the big thing that I'm going to look for is the two-strike battles. We talked about it last series about Texas won every two-strike battle there was on the offensive side and on the pitching side. Whoever does that this series is going to have a leg up because you've got to be able to get those outs when you got two strikes. Early damage is going to be part of this series too. First pitch is going to be an interesting thing. We got 5 or 6 aggressive guys between the two teams, and then everybody else takes their walks. Two of the best teams at not striking out. That's why the two-strike battle is going to be huge.
So you mentioned circling those guys, right? Let's circle Jordan. You're circling Corey Seager. What do you do after you have them circled? How do you handle them as a pitcher?
Well, you just make sure. The reason you circle them is you say, these guys cannot beat me. If there's a base open, they cannot beat me. I will let them take their base. I will pitch around them. You have to give them the respect because of what they've done, especially Jordan Alvarez. He hit 4 different pitches, 4 different home runs. There's no quadrant other than up and in that you can get him out. So that's what makes this going to be a fun series because you have top front starters that are able to get deep into the game, limit the bullpen usage, and if you can limit the damage on the bases, you'll have a chance. But I think this series is going to have more runs than what people think.
How do you handle that from a pitching perspective? You mentioned there's a lot of aggressive hitters in these lineups. Simeon and Seager very early on. Altuve always swings at the first pitch of the game if it's a strike. How do you handle that as a pitcher? If you're Jordan Montgomery, if you're Justin tonight, how do you go after aggressive hitters knowing they're going to swing early in the count?
The biggest thing is making the two-strike pitch on the first strike pitch, meaning Justin's Verlander's given up a 203 batting average on first pitch, which is unheard of. That's taking care of first pitch aggressiveness. And on the flip side, I think Montgomery's staying out of the middle of the plate. He pitches to the corner, so he's going to pitch east and west. Justin's going to pitch north and south. It really is going to be a different way to get hitters out.
Speaking of those two, Justin Verlander against Jordan Montgomery on the mound tonight in Game 1. What do you feel about this pitching matchup? What are you looking for between these two pitchers?
The biggest thing is the Texas Rangers ironically had the most concerns coming in to the playoffs, and they've answered them by their starters going more than 5 innings. I think the biggest thing Justin knows how to do is get in and out of trouble, limit the damage. Been there, done that. It's his 38th, I think, start in the postseason. He knows how to navigate a lineup. For Montgomery, he's been their hottest pitcher, and he has to stay out of the middle of the strike zone. That's the key. And he will finesse and get that aggressiveness to be – if he's going to be on, it's going to be a lot of ground balls. And, of course, for Justin, he'll give up his fly balls and strikeouts. That's what he's obviously been so good at. But I just think each team provides an opportunity to put pressure on the opposing pitcher, and the pitcher that wins that battle is going to come out on top.
John, I think one of the biggest storylines this ALCS, he made the roster. Max Scherzer is available for the Texas Rangers. I don't think you know the answer. I don't know the answer. But if you were in charge, how would you use Max Scherzer in this series?
I'd use him in a starting situation. No, you're only going to get 3 innings. Maybe you get 4. That game that Max pitches in is going to be piggybacked by right, left, right, however they want to do it. And I think it just gives the Rangers more depth. Gray's going to pitch out of the bullpen. Again, the concerns for the Rangers in the playoffs was their bullpen's going to let them down.
Yeah.
Hasn't done it. They haven't played a lot of close games, which is going to be interesting in this series because if they play close games, will the bullpen continue to be a strength for them versus what it was in the regular season, the most blown save? So that's something to keep your eye on.
So for a guy that did it, right? You started and were a reliever. You don't think this should be an option for Max, who's been starting for the majority of his career to this point. He shouldn't be used in a role in like a 5th, 6th, 7th, maybe a 3 late inning kind of guy.
No, I don't think so. I think that's what they're going to do with Gray.
Okay.
Max is a tempo guy that starts the game and creates that tempo, and he is a high energy, and that high energy without being built up for the last month will get him so far. And his ability to kind of have an impact in the series will go far better if he starts a game, and then later in the series, if it goes longer, then you can utilize him however you want.
So you mentioned John Gray is going to be in the bullpen. The Rangers bullpen, it has been a weakness all year long until really the last week of the season. What are you looking for the Rangers bullpen to get things done in a massive series?
Hopefully their offense keeps doing what they're doing and gives them some breathing room. The key to me is Chapman. I mean, I know he's got the left-handed ability to get these left-handed power hitters out for Houston, but he cannot keep doing what he's doing and create havoc for himself and then get more people up. I'm not concerned about Leclerc. I think the bullpen options that Bruce Bochy has, he's got a lot of left-handed options. That's going to be the chess match in this series, is when and how he uses those left-handed pitchers, and how well they do will be determined directly on whether they win this series or not.
Well, Alex, the nature of live show business,
Yeah.
sometimes it takes a few hiccups to get the ball rolling, but it's live show business.
What do you mean? We looked great.
We did
We
look
looked great.
But, John Smoltz talked about it there, and one of the key things for me in this series is Max Scherzer. How are the Rangers going to use him?
Yeah.
Well, Bruce Bochy was asked about that today, about his chances of starting Max Scherzer Game 3. He said there is a good chance of that, but also left open the possibility the Rangers could use him in a pinch in the bullpen tonight.
Whoa.
So we'll see.
Okay.
I think it depends on the game flow these first 2 days, and then if they don't have to use them, Max Scherzer will be starting Game 3 is what I think. But, Alex, you mentioned a minute ago, where's your nerve level at? It was really low until I turned around. Justin's now just right behind us warming up. You can probably see him if I see him.
Yeah, we have the whole family. The moment he ran out here, Ben turned around, took a deep breath. Mom and Dad looked the other way. You could just kind of feel the family tension of everybody getting ready for that knot in their stomach, but excited for him to take the mound in 43 minutes here.
So who is Justin going to be facing tonight? Let's check out the Texas Rangers starting lineup tonight. You got Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Mitch Garver, Adolis Garcia, Evan Carter, Jonah Heim, Nathaniel Lowe, Josh Young, Leody Taveras, and Jordan Montgomery on the mound.
Okay, when you look at this lineup right here, who are you keeping your eye on? Who is your player to watch?
It's got to be Corey Seager for me. Yes, he was hurt a good chunk of the year, but if it wasn't for a guy named Shohei Ohtani, Corey Seager's winning the AL MVP this year. That's how good he was over the course of the entire season, but we're not in the regular season anymore. We're in the postseason, where he's having one of the best postseasons of anybody out there, aside from maybe Yordan Alvarez at the Houston Astros, the second best OPS of anybody in all of baseball in the postseason. Corey Seager is who I'm watching out for tonight with the Texas Rangers.
Well, I'm watching out for their rookie left fielder. He is on fire. Evan Carter, he has just been red hot this postseason, batting .429 with an OPS of 1476, the third highest in the postseason, just behind Yordan Alvarez and your guy you just mentioned, Corey Seager. So they need all the help that they can get from that lineup, especially when we know what the Astros can do with their lineup. So let's look at the Astros lineup here tonight. We're very familiar with all of these guys, and they're all back in there.
Yep, the Houston Astros lineup starts, as it always does, with Jose Altuve. Jose Altuve leading off, Alex Bregman, Yordan Alvarez, Jose Abreu, Kyle Tucker, Chas McCormick, Mauricio Dubon, Jeremy Pena, Martin Maldonado, and Justin Verlander on the mound. Alex, for me, Yordan Alvarez.
Okay.
I mentioned him earlier, having the best postseason of anybody, not even postseason. Yordan Alvarez, right now, is the best hitter in the game of baseball. He's hitting .438 in the postseason with 4 homers, an OPS of 1.783. He's been remarkable. He's been incredible. Anything you want to use to describe the man, he's so clutch. This guy could hit ball. You see where we are? We're about 480 feet from home plate. Yordan Alvarez might be the only guy in this ballpark tonight that can hit a ball up here. It wouldn't surprise me if he does. Don't bring in a lefty to face him. It doesn't matter. Yordan is the most feared hitter of everybody in this entire series.
Well, the guy I'm watching out for is Jose Altuve. He is the heart and soul of this team. He's been through the ups, the downs, the glory of the 2 World Series wins with this team. He knows what it takes to win in this moment and in big situations. Plus, he has 8 home runs in Game 1s in his playoff career, which is the most in MLB history. So if he sets the tone and gets it going tonight, the rest of this team will follow suit.
Yep, I agree.
What is going to be your deciding factor for this game? We've gone through the starting pitching. We've gone through the rosters. We've gone through the big stories. We know this is the first time these 2 teams are meeting in the postseason. What's it going to be?
For me, it's Jordan Montgomery, the pitcher on the mound for the Texas Rangers, the big trade acquisition for them. I don't think the Rangers are here right now if it weren't for Jordan Montgomery. That's how good he's been in the playoffs. But this is a whole new beast. This isn't the Tampa Bay Rays. This isn't even the Baltimore Orioles that were the #1 seed in the American League. This is the Houston Astros, who, I don't know if I've said it enough, but Alex, the Astros are what?
Inevitable.
The Astros are inevitable.
Okay.
And that's what Jordan Montgomery is going up against tonight, a lineup that has been there, done that for 6 years in a row now. 7 if you include this year. So how is he going to be able to silence those bats? Specifically Jose Altuve, who you just mentioned, who I promise you all this, and I've said this before. If Jordan Montgomery throws the first pitch of the game in the strike zone, Jose Altuve will swing.
Yeah.
So how do you manage that? And then how do you manage this Astros offense? That's going to be the story for me, is how he does it. It's not a high velocity. It's not 100 miles an hour. It's not breaking stuff that's 90-plus miles an hour. It's working the quadrants, right? North, south, east, and west, every corner of the zone. That's what he's really good at. It's like he's painting a picture out there on the mound. How good of a picture can he paint tonight? Time will tell. But Alex, I also talked to John Smoltz about his key of the game tonight and what he's looking out for. Let's listen to that.
Game 1 is about to get underway here in Houston. Overarching story for tonight, what are you looking out for in Game 1 tonight?
Well, what I'm looking out for, both teams coming off a rest, both teams coming off a relatively easy series, and I think which offense imposed themselves tonight against 2 really good pitchers, 2 different styles, and the offense that is clicking and takes their walks and gets the hits with runners in scoring position. I mean, it's not rocket science, but I think the big thing about Houston is they have so much experience. They're not going to be unnerved by anything. Can Texas continue this incredible run, 5-0, and scoring runs like it's no big deal? I don't think they're going to score 10, 11 runs, but I think that the magic number for me in every game is 5. Who gets to 5? Typically, I think that team's going to win.
All right, thanks, John. Appreciate it. Good luck in Game 1.
All right, thank you.
Alex, we are just over 30 minutes from the first pitch of Game 1 of the ALCS. You can see it there now. 39 minutes to Game 1 of the ALCS. We got the Battle of Texas. I bought my boots today. I bought a belt buckle. I bought a cowboy hat, a jacket. I'm so
a new
locked
persona.
in.
You became a new person today.
I walked out of there with a new persona. That's what really happened.
Yeah.
And now we're just a few minutes away from Game 1 of this series. I'm so excited.
Okay, well, let's get to some predictions. Starting with, who is going to be your player of the game?
My player of the game tonight, it's my brother.
Yeah.
It's Justin Verlander. Setting the tone for this Astros team. How does he do out on the mound on Game 1? I think he does great. I think he sets the tone early. This has been the case with Justin over the course of his career. He might find himself in a little bit of trouble in that first or second inning. But if you don't get to him then, you're not going to get to him. I think he does a good job. I think he manages his way out of those first couple innings, and then he settles in for the rest of the game and dominates this team. Look, the Rangers' offense is good. I'm not saying he's going to go out there and throw a shutout. You don't need that if you're the Astros. You need him to go out, get you 5 or 6 innings, maybe 2 runs or less, but I think he goes out and has a really good start. Justin will be my player of the game.
My player of the game is going to be Yordan Alvarez. He is having one of the best postseason performances we have seen. And we all know, I just said it before, the guy at the top, Jose Altuve, if he hits a home run when the Astros are 5-1 when he hits a home run in Game 1. So we know Altuve will be good. But if Yordan can piggy off that and he can show up tonight and do what he's been doing throughout this postseason already, I think that'll help an Astros team who has been playing better on the road than they have at home.
Yordan Alvarez is a player that Yordan's the best hitter out on the field right now. Yordan's the best hitter in baseball right now. He's the best player out on this field. He's a guy that's capable of taking a series over and dominating it.
Yeah.
John Smoltz talked all about him. We've talked all about him, but I like that choice. If Yordan Alvarez is rolling, I was trying to tell the Twins this. I'll tell the Rangers this. If Yordan is rolling, do not pitch to him. You can't let Yordan be the guy to beat you. You just can't.
You can't. All right. Scores. What is going to be the final score here tonight?
All right. My final score prediction for the night in Game 1 of the ALCS, I will take the Houston Astros to win 6-3 and taking Game 1 of the ALCS. What about you, Alex?
All right. I am also taking the Astros to take Game 1, but it's going to be 5-4.
Ooh.
A little closer. We got right now, two of the team's best pitchers going head-to-head on the mound, two offenses that are kind of going off. So I think there's going to be a lot of offense, but also a solid pitching duel in the beginning.
I agree. I think we got a great game in store for us. Justin is warming up just a few feet behind us. He got both pitchers out here warming up now. Jordan Montgomery over there. It's all happening right behind us. And this series, I really do think, Alex, there's going to be a lot of offense in this series.
Oh, yeah.
High offense, great offenses, top 5 offenses in pretty much every category throughout the course of the regular season. And now we're here. They're meeting in the ALCS. I could not be more excited. We're 36 minutes from first pitch. We got lineups. We got national anthem coming. All the sights and sounds will get you down on the field for that. But this one will be a blast here tonight. And now, Alex, what I'm going to do,
what?
We're going to finish up here, and I'm going to go book my flight for next year because we're going to be right back here for the ALCS next year.
Wait, just give yourself
you wait,
a little bit
and then
time.
open up the checkbook a little bit more. I'm going to book it right after this for next year and pay 1/10 of the price that you're going to happen. Make sure everyone watching stays on this stream because you're going to get all the sights and sounds. You can see it now. They're about to do the lineups down there, starting lineups, anthem. You can watch everything all the way up to first pitch, including the first half of the first inning, all right here on this stream. So stick around. Enjoy it all. Alex and I will be back right after the game ends. About 15 minutes after the game ends, we will be doing our live post-game show. So stick around to check out all of that. Enjoy the ALCS. Enjoy Game 1. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Ben,
Alex,
take a deep breath. Your brother's about to take the mound. We all know how unwell that he gets, so hopefully it's a positive Ben at the end of the night.
all of my energy today has been channeled into this show. After it ends, I will be an absolute mess. And I'll tell you all about it when this game ends tonight during our post-game show. So thank you all for watching Alex and I here on this ALCS Game 1 preview show. Enjoy everything leading up to the game, including the first half inning of the game right here. Until after the game, that does it for Alex and I. Peace.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, here's the Astros and Texas Rangers joining the first of Major League Baseball as we pause to observe a moment of silence in honor of the innocent lives lost and remember those who are affected by the attacks in Israel. Please join us for our moment of silence. Thank you. Now, going to perform our anthem, and have you welcome back to the debate park. Please welcome to the police department with Steve Allen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Phil Redwood.
Welcome to the 2023 ALCS.
It's a Texas showdown.
The battle out west.
It's Texas versus Texas.
Astros versus Rangers.
All-stars at every corner.
Hall of Fame managers.
Hall of Fame players.
To stake claim to Texas.
To fly the pennant.
Game 1 of the ALCS.
Lone Star style.
Welcome to downtown Houston, Texas. Once again, the October stage. And this time it's an All-Texas Championship Series. Winner moves on to the World Series as we welcome you to the 2023 American League Championship Series on Fox, presented by Lone Depot, the Texas Rangers and the defending champion Houston Astros. We welcome you inside. Joe Davis, the Hall of Famer John Smoltz. The Texas Rangers, 2 years removed from losing 100 games, are in the championship series for the first time in 12 years. Now the Houston Astros, they looked vulnerable as they've been in a long time, but they are back where they always seem to go in the championship series for the 7th straight season. Both these teams star-studded. It seems evenly matched. And John, you think this series has a chance to be a classic?
I think it's going to be epic. I think both teams, as you mentioned, are about as matched. Maybe an uptick in the bullpen for Houston. But when you think about the paths each team has taken, especially Texas, I don't think they could ask for a better route to the World Series than to beat their division foes, the Houston Astros. Houston's been there, done that. Both managers been there, done that. Stars on both sides. I usually like pitching. We're going to see a lot of hitting.
Let's talk about a couple of those hitters. The two hottest hitters on the planet on display. Yordan Alvarez for the Astros, Corey Seager for the Texas Rangers.
I just don't know how you stop Alvarez. There's going to be a chess match for Bruce Bochy, and he's got some left-handers to go to. Look at the numbers. He just seems to rise to the occasion when the postseason shows up, and he dominates. You can't let him beat you. And for the other side, the Texas Rangers, they poured a lot of money into Corey Seager. All he's done is delivered this year. And I think for the Rangers, if they continue to win the two-strike battles and take the walks, they've got a chance to defeat the defending champs, Houston Astros.
Now, for more on this matchup, we go down to the field. Here's Ken Rosenthal.
Joe, this rivalry didn't truly take shape until 2013 when the Astros joined the AL West. In recent seasons, the Astros have been so dominant, the Rangers spent more than $800 million on free agents the past 2 winters just trying to catch up. That seemed likely to happen earlier this year when the Rangers spent 150 days in first place, but the Astros won the AL West on the final day in a tiebreaker. And here we have the ultimate showdown, a best-of-7 tiebreaker, not only for in-state bragging rights, but the American League title. Now over to Tom Verducci.
Well, thanks, Ken. Justin Verlander has a game day routine. Wake up late, order in chicken Caesar salad and a cheeseburger, leave home at 2:45, stop for coffee on the way in. This is postseason start number 36 for Verlander, and the last 2 have shown how he can adapt based on what is working in the game. Game 5 of the World Series last year, a lot of high fastballs. Game 1 of the ALDS this year, 54% breaking pitches. Once Verlander is here on the mound in a postseason game, there is nothing routine about it. Joe.
All right, Tom, and at 40 years old, a little detour, but he's back in Houston, and lately, John, he is back looking like an ace.
He can do it all. I mean, I called him a 10-speed bike. Maybe he stripped some gears as he's turned 40, but he can pitch to any continent, but any area of the strike zone, and he is ready and the right guy. Believe it or not, he's back in Houston.
This is weird, isn't it? I mean, he goes to the Mets, comes back to the Astros, and here he is once again taking the ball in game 1. The lineup that he'll face off with is sponsored by IBM. It is the top lineup in the American League, and they have continued that here in the postseason with Simeon and Seager at the top. Mitch Garver got plugged into the lineup game 2 of the division series and hit a grand slam. And it's Adolis Garcia, the cleanup man. Evan Carter, the rookie, just debuted a little more than a month ago. He bats 5th, has been a revelation for the Rangers. Jonah Heim catches. It's Lowe, Young, and Tavares to finish things up for Bruce Bochy. Tonight's FanDuel Live same game parlay. Josh Young and Yordan Alvarez. That seemed like a pretty safe play there. Both those guys hot coming in. As we meet this series umpiring crew. Behind the plate is a first-timer in the championship series, Stu Sherwater. And Justin Verlander, for one, happy to have Stu there. He's unbeaten when Sherwater's calling balls and strikes. He's got a sub-2 ERA. That guy behind the plate. After a 6-year playoff drought and after blowing the division in the final weekend, these Rangers have steamrolled their way to their first ALCS in 12 years. 7th consecutive championship series for the Astros. And this All-Texas showdown lined up. Simeon stands in, and off we go with a swing and a foul ball down the line.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of early action with these first two hitters. And you know what? Justin Verlander's not afraid to use his fastball. First time through, he'll establish his fastball, look for that curveball that he can throw almost at will for a strike. He'll mix in his slider, but he is not afraid to attack early on with fastballs.
This is the one guy in the Rangers lineup that has hit him hard. 2 home runs for Simeon against Verlander. On the corner with a slider, and it's 0-2.
And the beauty with him is that little slider right there, might not look like much, is very effective. And there's the breakdown that you're going to see from Verlander. Watch as the game progresses. High fastballs against this Rangers team will be the key for Verlander.
His 0-2 pitch dives down and away. Ball 1. 6 scoreless innings. Game 1 of the division series against Minnesota. Took him some time to find himself in that game. There was a bunch of traffic the first few innings, but as he so often does, figured it out. Just 1 base runner over the last 3. His 1-2 is bounced up the middle to a perfectly positioned Jose Altuve. His wide throw is pulled down by Abreu, and Abreu tags him for the first out.
Well, Abreu, taller first baseman here, as the ball had some spin, and then you see him put the tag right before he gets the foot to the bag, and luckily did not hurt himself.
So 1 gone. I'm going to get out of the way quickly here because I know Seager's probably swinging first pitch. How in the world are you pitching to this?
He's going to attack him. At least when everything that I've watched, he's attacked him early with fastballs, and then the second and third time around he changes his routine.
Most aggressive hitter in baseball, Corey Seager. First pitch curve grounded through the right side, and his monster postseason continues on the first pitch that he sees.
You were right. You got to get out there fast because he's definitely created an awareness to everybody who faces him. It does not matter where that or what pitch it is. If it's in the zone, he's going to swing. And right away, he got a curveball and saw it up in his eyes and grounded it in. Now, this at bat here, you go into this at bat, he's been hot, but he is not like facing Justin Verlander.
Mitch Garver, ball 1. Now Garver got plugged in the lineup 4 games into their postseason. He hadn't played at that point. Bruce Bochy puts him right in the 3 spot, and what does he do? It's a grand slam. And the lineup didn't have him in there the day after that, but Bruce said, I've got a rule. You hit a grand slam, you're in there the next day. Here's a tamper to Verlander. 1-4-3. Off and rolling in the league championship series. The Astros come to bat when you come back.